So, gang, I don't know how many we'll have in here tonight. I don't think I'm going to have anybody else live on the stream with me. So, excuse me, I'm going to pull my microphone over. Um, also, I had a change. I didn't quite, hey, Blissful, I didn't quite get to Black Swarm. So I'm only going to be covering two films tonight. Red, which is based on a Jack Ketchum novel, and Zombie Strippers. Um, I think I should have done my research on Red before I started watching it, and did not. But thankfully, I took a look at. I'm not crying or anything. I've been sneezing like a crazy woman. Uh, and I don't know what's got my allergy sinuses all stirred up. But thankfully, I did read up on it a little bit before it got to a certain part. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But I do have the thumbnails up on YouTube for the week's offerings. And so tomorrow night will be another apples and oranges. I'm going to be talking about Argento versus Fulci. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each one of these Italian directors. I'm probably not going to say which one I like better because that's very difficult for me, considering that I love most of the work of Fulci, love most of the work of Argento. But we want to talk about their different styles and things like that. So Thursday will be, I know what you shot on video. I'm going to attempt to talk about, um, hold on just a second here. I'm going to attempt to, if I can get to my stuff here. The Bleeder and Blonde Death tomorrow night. Um, there will be a couple of streams on Friday as usual. Terror Time Tea, I will be talking about Luther the Geek and Schizo, which is a Pete Walker slasher, Pete Walker from the UK. And Friday Foolish will be favorite horror movie masks and characters. And I should have Candace on there with me for that. No watch alongs this weekend, but a little reminder that August, the whole month of August, will be Argento August. So we're going to take a break from the regularly scheduled programming to bring you all things Dario Argento. Sorry, gang. I hadn't ate my supper yet, or my dinner, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just now getting to it. So if y'all will bear with me, I'll eat some ramen noodles. So we're going to have watch alongs for the month of August. We're going to be doing Deep Red and Tenebrae. And also Phenomena and Suspiria as well. I could, Victor. That's a very good idea. Fulci Fall. Um, yeah, that would be, what would y'all think for those of you that are in here? What would y'all think of October being Fulci Fall? And we could cover all things Fulci. I think that's an awesome idea, Victor, to have Fulci Fall. So anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and get started with these couple of movies. Like I said, it's probably going to be pretty quick. Me just talking a little bit about them. Sounds good to you, Victor? Great. I'll plan on that then, doing Fulci Fall in October. because I think a lot of Fulci movies I like to watch in the fall. They just seem like fall type of movies to me. Gates of Hell or City of the Living Dead and House by the Cemetery and even The Beyond to some extent. Um, so we'll go ahead and get started with these movies. The first one is Red from 2008, I believe, based on a Jack Ketchum novel. And I'm glad that I read up on what the movie was actually about a little bit before I got to a certain part in it, or I would have been shocked. Okay. And I'm also going to institute something new to the rating scale. You know how Joe Bob takes a half star reduction off of the rating when there are no breasts in the movie? Well, what I'm going to do is take a half deadite off for when animals are killed, like, pets and stuff like that. Hey, Gory Tiger. So sadly, the movie Red, it's named after the dog who is named Red in the film. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know where this is going. And then I confirmed it by reading up a little bit on it. Um, so whatever the rating I give to it, remember I'm going to be taking a half of a deadite off. So we have an older gentleman, Ev, I believe is his name, played by Brian Cox. And his dog Red is waking him up in the morning in the opening scenes of the film, licking his face. And so Ev is going to go fishing. And evidently, he likes to fish and hunt a lot. And he takes Red with him when he goes fishing. We find out that Ev's wife is deceased. We don't find out what happened to her until much later in the film, till the film's almost over. Um, but we find out that his wife gave him the dog. Hey, Phil, I gave him the dog for his birthday, I believe, one year before she passed away. And I believe the dog is 14. So anyway, he's just minding his own business. Evan's just minding his own business, fishing, and these three boys come up behind him. And hey, Russell, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Um, and by the way, everybody, Russell has been a member of my channel for 6 months, so that is awesome. Um, so these three boys come up behind him, and at first they start talking. They're kind of condescending, but they're talking to him in a semi pleasant way. And we see that one of the boys, Danny, has a gun. And they talk about they're going hunting, but they haven't seen any deer. And then Danny says, we're kind of hungry. Any of you guys got any money? And their friend says, nah, I don't have any money. And his brother says, well, I got $10. And Danny says, I don't want any fast food shit. I want some good stuff. So basically, what it turns out to be is they're planning on robbing Ev. And he just tells them, he says, take my truck. My wallet is in the truck, in the glove compartment. You can take anything you want. Just kind of leave me and my dog be. But Danny doesn't want to leave him be. And he shoots Red and kills him. And I had to fast forward that part because I just, you know, sometimes I never like to see animals get killed in films, even if I know that it's not real. Just because dogs, especially, are so near and dear to my heart. But I know people even that like cats and other animals that this would break their heart, right? So he the boys leave after that, and he carries his poor dog out of the woods and he buries him. But he cannot let it go. He cannot let this go. So he goes um to the gun shop in town, and he's asking the guy behind the counter, the young guy behind the counter, you know, um, do you sell this type of gun? The Yeah, Phil, you say you would deduct a full point, not a half. Uh, you know what, Phil? I might just do that. Yeah, because we're dealing with animals here. I totally agree with you. This isn't boobage. This is animal death. So I believe that I will, Phil. Um, so um, he wants to find out who this gun was sold to. And the young guy's like, I'm sorry, I can't give out that kind of information. And so Ev looks over and he sees in the gun shop a man standing kind of in the corner, and there's a dog laying on the ground or laying on the floor in the shop. And I guess Ev assumes that this is this man's dog, and he mentioned that this boy he's looking for um, shot his dog for no reason at all. Oh yeah, Phil, I still haven't watched Marley. So when he says that this boy killed his dog, I guess the owner of the store was the man that was standing over in the corner, and that dog evidently is his. And he tells the young man behind the counter, "Tell him who bought the gun." So Ev ends up going to Danny's father's house, and Danny's father, I believe, is played by Tom Sizemore, and the mother is played by Ashley Lawrence. And Russell, you say you saw Robert Englund in a horror film I've never seen called Incubus. He played the title role. Tagline: New demon, new nightmare. Um, I don't think I've seen that one. Maybe I just haven't gotten to that one yet, Russell. But I'll definitely let you guys and gals know what I thought of it after I watch it, if I do indeed get to watch that one. So it becomes a battle of wills, basically. And I'd always heard that Jack Ketchum's material was very dark, very violent, and this was. And I don't want to give all of it away, but it's like, Ev goes to a lawyer that he knows, and a journalist does a story on him to try to get the DA to prosecute because of the death of his dog. We also find out the story behind Ev's wife's death and the death of one of his sons. Um, the death of his young son and his wife was caused by his older son, who apparently had some mental illness of some sort. And he said that his older son had went into the Navy and they dismissed him on a Section 8. And So he kind of was drifting around and stuff. And one night when Ev was working, his older son came to the house and wanted money from his mother, and she refused to give it to him. She said no. She said, if you want money, you go down to the store where your father's doing inventory and you ask him for the money. Well, he goes away and he comes back, and again he asks his mother for money. And again, his mother says, no, I'm not giving you any money. If you want money, you go ask your father, who's, at his store. Well, the son proceeds to beat on his mother, so much so that he thinks that he has killed her. He panics and um, intends to burn down the house with his mother's body, what he thinks is his mother's body, and his younger brother in there to get rid of the evidence. So he doesn't have gasoline, he has kerosene. And he goes upstairs to his younger brother's bedroom, pours kerosene on him, lights a match, and closes and locks the door and waits until his brother quits screaming. And then he goes downstairs to where he thinks, again, his mother's dead. She's not. She's injured, but she's not dead. Again, he pours gasoline on, or kerosene on her, lights a match, and leaves her. Um, he thinks she's dead, but she comes to, manages to get herself outside, rolls around until the flames are out, manages to call 911, and then passes out. Um, and I believe Ev says she lived for 5 more days, never awoke from a coma, and then she passed away. So this guy's already had horrible things happen. And then the death of his dog on top of that for no, I mean, there is no good reason to kill an animal unless you're being attacked and it's self defense. But this was a 14-year-old dog. It wasn't doing anything but barking a little bit, trying to protect Ev when these boys were trying to rob him. Hey, Leslie, you say I prefer England as Bill Gartley in Toby Hooper's The Mangler, 1995. It's more scary than Freddy Krueger. Um, That's an interesting take on it, Leslie. I don't agree with that, but I respect your opinion on that. But it is very, very interesting. I did like Bill Gartley. He was just that sleazy, smarmy type of character that you kind of love to hate, right? So I didn't dislike that character. Um, my personal opinion is Freddy Krueger's more frightening than Bill Gartley. And maybe, Leslie, I don't know, maybe Bill Gartley is scarier to you because he's not some kind of supernatural force. He's a real man that's menacing and stuff like that. And I could definitely see that. So, um, what's the? Are you talking about what's the second scariest Robert Englund film for me after Nightmare on Elm Street? Oh, Leslie, I'd have to think about that one because I wasn't prepared to answer that. But please don't let me forget about that. It may be another stream or two before I do that. But if you're in here again, um, please remind me. Hey, Dana, you said that you would talk about your second favorite Robert Englund or second scariest Robert Englund film. Um, so this story or this movie was very dark, but it was also very poignant. Many parts of it were disturbing. Um, However, had they not had the dog's death in the film, um, I would have gave it 5 deadites out of 5, but because we had the animal death, the dog's death, and it was pretty violent, um, I'm gonna take 1 deadite off of there, and I'm gonna give it 4 deadites out of 5, instead of 5 deadites out of 5. Because it's a very good movie, and Robert Englund has I almost forgot about that, and those 4 deadites are also for Robert Englund's performance. Robert Englund has a little bit smaller part, playing the father of the 3rd boy. You had the 2 brothers, and then you had the other boy, and so he was the father of the other boy that was hanging out with the brothers. And Amanda Plummer plays the boy's mother. Um, Robert Englund wasn't a very savory character. Um, he he the first time Eb comes to their house trying to find out more information about their boy, he seems like he's a little, henpecked or something by his wife. The second time we figure out that they must have been paid off by Danny's dad, who is rich, so that they could have repairs done on their house and stuff. So the second time Ev comes asking about their son, um, he says, "Well, I noticed you having some repairs and stuff and getting things fixed up. That must take a lot of money." To which Robert Englund's character, Mr. Dow, says, "Fuck you," and he's a lot more, not evil necessarily, but unsavory the second time around. Um, it's pouring down rain again. we did. I was hoping that it wouldn't storm or anything like that because I really wanted to be able to do this stream tonight. We do have a tornado watch. I don't know for how long, how much longer, but hopefully we don't get anything bad like that. So, the second movie, guys and gals. Now, I know some of you guys would probably appreciate a movie called Zombie Strippers. I tried. I really, really tried. I mean, this has Jenna Jameson and stuff on it, and it has plenty of nudity, plenty of boobage, all that stuff that most of you guys like. However, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Just wasn't my cup of tea. I mean, a very baseline story, it's not complicated. I did love Robert Englund's character in it as the owner of the strip club because there's a few scenes where he's actually scared of the strippers he's got working for him because he don't want to get herpes or anything or else from them. And so he walks around with a can of Lysol and he's spraying it and stuff. And he's like, "Don't touch me," and stuff. So I really enjoyed watching him throughout the film. I would say Robert Englund is probably the best thing about this movie, his character, because it adds a touch of comedy and like pure comedy, not really hokey comedy. But as far as the strippers and stuff, nah, I didn't care for that. Yeah, Phil, you're not missing anything. I don't think you're missing anything in all you say. I heard nothing good about strippers, so I never watched it. Um, but be careful for those of you that do want to watch it. If you try to look it up on YouTube, I ended up watching it on Tubi. I watched Red. Surprisingly, Red was on Tubi and also Zombie Strippers. But first I looked on YouTube and it had Zombie Strippers, but it was not. It was Zombies, and had Tiffany Shepis on it. And I didn't ever see Robert Englund's name in the credits, and I was like, this don't look right. So I actually went and looked to see if there were other places that I could watch it because I didn't really want to rent it tonight. Um, and sure enough, found it on Tubi. So we basically have kind of a mad scientist type of dude who creates these zombies. I don't really understand why. I guess he's just a mad scientist. I mean, he wants to maybe take over the world with these zombies, and one of them gets out. And Russell, you say zombie strippers is a hoot? Well, if I was of the male persuasion, it may have been for me, but the best thing about it for me was Robert Englund's character. I thought his character was funny. But I had no interest at all in seeing naked ladies. Even when they turned into zombies, I didn't much care for it. So the special effects were pretty decent. I do believe there was some CGI or CG effects in it. Um, some of it may have been practical as well. I think some of it was. So the special effects weren't too bad. Robert Englund was fantastic in it, and that's why, purely based on those two things, is why I'm going to give it 2 deadites out of 5. Not something that I envision myself going back and ever watching again. But still, I'm not going to say it's not worth a watch, at least a one time watch. Um, and you can watch it for free on Tubi. You know, there are commercials, of course, um, but you know, if you can watch it for free, you might as well go ahead if you have even the slightest bit of interest in it. Victor, you say Zombie Strippers was goofy. I watched it years ago on a portable DVD player on the road to a Cinema Wasteland convention. Me and Steve haven't been to a Cinema Wasteland convention in years, Victor. Do you normally go to Cinema Wasteland, Victor? I'm just curious. Just asking out of pure curiosity. Um, but guys and gals, I think that is all I've got to say about these 2 movies. I sound like Forrest Gump, don't I? Out of the 2, I would definitely recommend Red, but just be very wary that those of you that are sensitive, I can't even talk, sensitive to animal death, um, including dogs, cats, and other animals, you might want to do like I did and fast forward past the part where they shoot the dog. Because even when the dog shows back up, um, and it does, be prepared. Because I don't think I was fully prepared, and it just, I knew it wasn't real, but it still hurt me being the dog lover that I am, or just animal lover in general. Um, but I guess, Victor, you say I haven't been for a few years. I have been to a bunch, though. It's about a 4 hour drive from where I am in Michigan. I will go again soon. It's not quite as far for you as it is for us. I think it's like a 6 hour drive for us, um, from Louisville. But I guess that's all from me tonight. So sorry, guys and gals, for the short live stream tonight. But when I'm on here by myself, um, even if I have a pretty good crowd, which I feel like I did tonight, um, I just don't want to ramble on too much and just on and on and on. I get to the point, give my ratings, and then I usually get off of here for the night. And so that's what I'm going to do. But I want to thank everybody that was in the chat tonight. I also want thank those of you that were watching. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Everybody Wants England, and I hope that you will tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Apples and Oranges, Argento versus Fulci. And so I'm off like a dirty shirt, but before I go, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic Tuesday night, folks. And let's see if we can get through the rest of this week all intact, right? So I will see everybody next time. Bye, folks.